Good morning and welcome to Wholesome Roots. Today, I'm going to talk to you about roots. That's right, roots. This is a collaboration between two different channels that have roots in their name. So the title of this collaboration is For the Love of Roots. I am being joined by my dear friend Jess over at Roots and Refuge Farm. So make sure that you check out their channel, subscribe to their channel, and follow along on their gardening journey because she has some amazing raised bed gardens. Make sure you check out Jess's channel, Roots and Refuge, and enjoy her videos on gardening, and also her wonderful spiritual sermons that she does are just so inspiring and heartwarming. So make sure you check her out. So today we're going to talk about what roots mean to us, what they are, some tips and ideas about how to grow roots, and just a little bit more backstory on what roots are to me. Right now, it's fall. It's the beginning of September, and we are planting all of our roots and leaves for the fall and winter garden. We live in Georgia, so we have a great fall and winter garden season here, and it makes it really easy to grow the things that I really love, and I really love root veggies. When I first started gardening and was trying to grow root vegetables, I didn't do very well in the beginning. My carrots almost never germinated when I began planting carrots. I had the poorest germination. No matter how new the seeds were, I had like 0 germination rate, and I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong. So I did more research and I figured out some more things, and I tried some new tricks and tips. So after experimenting with different techniques in planting and trying to sow I tried sowing them like I would normally sow most seeds of that size, like my kale and collard seeds, just slightly bigger than carrot seeds, but not by much. I would sow them the same way and they wouldn't come up. So what I finally learned is a technique I'm going to show you today, and it's been the most effective method. The other problem I used to have with carrot seeds is they can take a while to germinate. They can sometimes take longer than you expect them to, and then you start to think that they aren't going to germinate, and so you go and you replant something else in that bed, and then you find little carrots everywhere. So I've learned many lessons through carrots. I will show you what I do to keep track of the carrots in my garden so I know which row is carrots. I use a special trick so that I don't lose track of them while they're taking a long time to germinate. I'm getting ready to sow my seeds for my fall root vegetables, starting with carrots. Yeah, I go a little crazy with carrots. So this year I'm growing some cosmic purple carrots from Baker's Creek. I'm growing some dragon carrots that are a nice red carrot. I'm growing the Parisienne carrots. I think these are the white ones, if I'm not mistaken. And Amarillo, which are a yellow carrot. Those are the ones that I'll be growing this year. I like to have a rainbow of carrots. So I've got purple, red, yellow, white, and orange all in there. So today is a hot, muggy day in Georgia, but we've got to get these seeds in the ground for the cool weather. It's hard to believe that you have to sow the seeds now while it's so hot still, so that you have something to harvest in the cool fall and winter. This row here is where I'm going to plant my root veggies. I prepped it a few days ago. It's had a little bit of rain since then, so I'm just going to go back down the lines with my claw tool and just kind of break up the soil so that the seeds are going into a nice loose bed. Then another root that is really fun to grow for anybody, especially kids, is radish. They are the funnest to plant because it only takes 3 to 4 weeks before you're picking them and eating them. Now, I don't like radish raw. I've never been a fan of raw radish in a salad or anything. But I tell you what, they are delicious fermented and made into a fermented pickle. And they are really good roasted, just like I do with my beets. It's just olive oil, salt, and pepper. Bam. A little garlic powder helps too. Another cool thing about radish is that you can let them go to seed. If you're not going to use the roots, let them go to seed. Those flowers are edible. You can sprinkle those yellow flowers on your salad. Also, if you leave the flowers and let it go to seed, and it creates the seed pods, while the seed pods are green, before the seed gets hard inside, you can snip those off the plant and cut them up and put them on a salad. They have a nice peppery flavor that adds a new dimension to salads. And then I will also be planting some radish. I'm doing some English breakfast radish mainly, and then some gourmet mix. So my first and maybe one of my favorite tips for growing root veggies is how I plant my carrots. It just so happens to be that it also involves planting my radish. So for my carrot seeds, I like to dig this trench and have my seeds sown in the bottom of the trench. Just sprinkle my seeds every couple of inches. They can be kind of close together because we can thin them out later. But what I do next is one of the big tips. Carrot seeds take a little longer to germinate. We don't know where they are, but radish seeds germinate quickly. So we can identify our carrot row instantly if we sow some radish seeds every couple of inches in the same furrow that we planted our carrot seeds. Now you could use string to make a nice straight row, but I promise you, these veggies do not care if they're in a perfectly straight row or not. So if you have the time to straighten out your rows more, just put a stick on either end and tie some string, and it'll give you a nice straight row.
There was a time when I was lonely. I was trying hard to get by, taking day by day. But baby, then you came along. I know I never felt that strong. Nothing's gonna hold us down. Yeah, we are taking off the ground now. Stay with me, we're aiming for the sky. Anywhere, we'll get there by and by.
Alright, so I have the seed in the ground. Now I just have to cover them, right? That's where my method changes. I do not rake the soil back over these seeds. What I'm going to do is use water pressure from a hose, from a shower setting on a hose sprayer, to water this row. And as it waters, just enough soil will fall down from the sides and into this trench with just enough soil to cover them and help them germinate. That is how I get my carrot seeds to have a great germination rate. Then there were beets. I didn't really like beets, but I was growing a garden for a chef for a farm-to-table restaurant. So, of course, they wanted beets for the menu. So I planted beds of beets. Big, huge beds of beets. And wouldn't you know, they got this big. They couldn't, I mean, I could not get them to grow beyond this point. I would leave them in the ground thinking they were gonna get bigger, and they never got any bigger than a quarter. So the chef said, I can't use those. There's too many of them. That would be too much prep work. You go ahead and take them if you want them, or compost them. So I can't see anything going into the compost that's food. I didn't like beets at the time. I thought I didn't like beets. But Ryan and I took those beets home and we cleaned them up and we roasted them. And I tell you what, overnight I was the biggest beet fan you would ever meet. I love beets. I'm obsessed with beets. I eat beets like probably once a week. And I love beets now, and so does Ryan. And he, prior to this, he didn't like beets either. So we both began to love beets after we grew them ourselves. Then those beds got treated with azomite, which is a type of volcanic ash. The following year, we had the biggest Swiss chard you would ever see, and Swiss chard is related to beets. The Swiss chard was, no lie, at least that tall. And fat leaves, to the point where the organic farm next door asked if they could have some to take to their farmer's market with them, because they were so beautiful that they knew that it would attract people to their table. So we really succeeded in improving the soil in that bed, and that ended up being all that was needed. That was the only mistake we made with the beets growing this big, was that we didn't have enough minerals in that bed, and azomite adds in all the minerals needed. So now we know what to do if beets don't grow well. They grow well, great here in our organic compost, so we haven't had that issue again. I am growing some beets. I only have a little bit of beets. So these are the Tiago Beets. They are striped internally, so they're white and red stripes. Really cool looking when you slice them open. I am hoping to get some golden beet seeds as well. I'm just low on beet seeds. Can you believe it? With all these seeds I have, I don't have enough beet seeds. I think I know why, because I always plant them. All right, now it's time to plant my beets. Beet seeds are something that are pretty easy to grow. They are a bigger seed, so sometimes you're actually getting more than one beetroot from the seed. It's really quite interesting. So you'll get different tops coming up at the same time. There are some people in the gardening communities that recommend soaking your beet seeds first, overnight, or pouring hot water over them for just an hour. I've tried all of those ways, and I've done side-by-side comparison in my beds, and I actually had better germination rate when I did not soak them or pour hot water over them at all. So for me, I just sow them and soak them in good with the hose like I do the rest of my seed. With beets being a slightly bigger seed than carrots and radish, I do bury them just a little bit with just a fine layer of soil over the top of them. All right, you can see I've been marking where I planted which seeds with the seed packet. Seed packets don't last forever in the rain or the hose, so if you need a more sturdy method, you can use some plastic tags that will help you know where things are. I already know what I'm planting in here, and I have this video as a way to keep my mind steady when I'm wondering what I planted where. I can look back at this video, but for you guys, you'd want to make some markers if you need to know where they are. I know that this whole bed is going to be roots, so it's going to be pretty easy for me to keep track of. Then some of my other favorite root vegetables to grow are turnips and rutabagas. They are so good. They're a nice sweet root. They get a nice big size, so I give them a lot more space in the garden than I do the smaller root veggies. And the cool part is while they're growing roots, I can harvest the outer leaves off of the plant and use those as a green. So I can saute the greens and have those for dinner even while I'm still waiting for the roots to develop. And then when harvest time comes, I have a ton of greens to blanch and freeze if I want to save them for later. So those are all the roots that I tend to grow. There are definitely other ones that you can try. There's parsnip and salsify, and I'm sure there's others I've left out, but these are the main ones I grow. So the carrots, beets, radish, turnip, and rutabaga are what I'm going to be growing this year. What are you growing for your roots? Leave a comment down below and tell us. On the turnips, I'm doing the purple top Milan and purple top white globe. And for rutabaga, I'm doing some Laurentian rutabaga and also some of the American purple top. Next is my rutabaga and turnips. So from that hoe through here, I'm just gonna go ahead and sow some rutabaga and turnips. The rutabaga and turnip seeds I sow almost exactly like I do my kale seed because they're about the same size. So I just sprinkle them along every few inches and cover them with just a light dusting of soil. No, wait, I take that back, I lied. I don't do the rutabaga and turnip every couple of inches. I actually sow them a bit heavier than that. Does anybody know why? Because turnip and rutabaga aren't just for root crop. I am going to be able to thin out those little seedlings and add those to my salads or stir fry. The greens are one of the most delicious edibles on the planet. That is, except for beet greens. Beet greens are probably my most favorite.
You and me were in the moment we've been waiting for. Come summer, winter, fall, or spring, no matter what the future brings, nothing's gonna hold us down.
So that is the root veggies that I'm going to be planting today. I also have a mountain of other veggies that will be hopefully getting planted soon. And now for the very last and most important step in planting your seeds. You have to water them in really good with the hose, especially those carrot seeds that haven't been buried yet back there at the back with its radish.
We're taking off the ground now, stay with me. We're aiming for the sky. Anywhere, we'll get there by and by. Stay with me. We're aiming for the sky. Anywhere, we'll get there by and by.
Another advantage to having the furrows a little bit is it helps the water to know where to go. So the water puddles in the deeper parts, making sure that those seeds get good moisture to help them germinate. I always water extra deep. So I water the area, water it again, 3 times in a row at least, to make sure that the water has a chance to sink deep into the soil for great germination results in the next coming days. It's been a lot of fun working on this collaboration with Jess from Roots and Refuge, and I hope that you check out her channel and subscribe. Check out her roots video. She's gonna have one titled the same, For the Love of Roots. Go check it out and see what tips she has for growing roots. And whether you've grown roots before or you've never grown them, this gives you the opportunity to grow them with great confidence with tips from 2 expert gardeners. So go check out her video, learn a few things from her, and I really hope that I've taught you a few things here today. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, comment down below if you have any other suggestions and tips about roots that you would like to add. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.